Since I was a child navigating his way through this pile of illegally acquired PlayStation 2 games, I paid almost no attention to the stories being told inside the games I played, mainly because of the language barrier. I didn't understand what the hell Grandpa Max was saying in Ben 10 Protectors of Earth.
Good, you're awake. Something's crash landed over there in the canyon.
Or what the elemental masks were trying to tell me in the Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex loading screen. But that didn't stop me from loving each second I spent adventuring and exploring these magical worlds. Growing up, I started to learn the language by playing more and more video games and by watching a lot of Disney movies. A lot of Disney movies, which gave me the ability to understand what these games I've been playing my whole life were trying to tell me, and I gotta be honest, it's a pretty dope feeling. This newly acquired skill made me able to discover a whole new different world. The interactive narrative games experience. Unlike a lot of people that see these games as a disgrace on the video game industry, the thing that came to my simple brain was, I like movies, and I like video games. Add the polymerization card and 11 years old me was just mind blown. But like any type of games, interactive narrative driven games can be great emotional rememberable experiences, and they can be quite dumb to be honest. Since I was able to understand English, this kind of games were able to give me really rich stories that kinda made me see gaming as a whole differently. The whole deal used to be infiltrate this military base with a double barrel shotgun and a high Mexican dude. Or kill the demons. Why should I kill the demons? It doesn't matter, they gave me the sword for a reason. Or do whatever the fuck you're supposed to do in GTA.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
It was simple, as it should have for an 8-year-old boy, but after getting access to the world of narrative-driven games, I can say that a lot of my favorite gaming experiences are derived from that world. And the first game that I played from this genre was The Walking Dead Season 2. Yes, I played the second one before the first, and I absolutely adored it. Even when I started to the second season, I didn't feel that I had an inferior experience to the ones that followed the natural order of events. It's right that naturally the sequel is a continuation to Clementine's story, but I still felt engaged with her journey in the second game, and when I played the first, it felt like I was seeing her backstory. I know most of you will start throwing shit at me saying you messed up the order, but I enjoyed these games so much. That's due to its solid and sometimes chaotic plot. Like, the game is set in a typical post-apocalyptic setting, so naturally it's about surviving this cruel world while finding love, warmth and friendship along the way. Moving from place to place, Asian dudes dying every second, just the whole package. But what made me see these stories as different is the wide variety of choices that are offered to the player. They're not just these ineffective decisions that you make that will either change slightly the course of your story or won't change it at all. Here there are two types of choices. Some are the more casual decisions that will influence your relationship with the cast, and there is the decisive moments that will decide who will stay alive and who will get shot in the fucking head or whatever. People die with all kind of ways in these games, and just something I want to mention, I still think that it's hilarious that the fate of actual human lives are at the hand of a 12-year-old girl in Season 2. The Walking Dead series is a perfect example of a game that was able to pull the interactive narrative game experience well. The game's emotional chords strike hard, and the choices tree is just amazing. There are of course a lot of other examples of games that did this whole deal well. Most of them are Telltale games, but I don't want this video to turn out why Telltale games are great. I wanna talk about more not so talked about games, like What Remains of Edith Finch for example. It's a small indie game which doesn't make this a biased opinion at all. Well, this one is pretty good. What Remains of Edith Finch doesn't offer the player any choices in particular during the runtime of the game. I like to see it as a group of different stories covered under the umbrella of one theme, the Finch family curse. Exploring the Finch family home was one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. The way this game builds characters is just so unique, because you understand the Finch family members by seeing what's left of them, not by seeing them in the present. It's like exploring the remnants of this once thriving family. It's pretty sad knowing the different stories of the family members to just kinda wake up and see that, well, they're all fucking dead. The game gets creative telling each story with the colors, the visual metaphors, or the way it's narrated. I don't want to spoil anything, but man, the ending of this story is just perfect. What Remains of Edith Finch and the Walking Dead series are great examples of putting the narrative-driven games formula to good use, because while there are good games from this genre, we find not so successful attempts. Like, for example, David Cage games. I'm sorry, but these games make no fucking sense. And I'm a Dragon Ball fan, so that must tell you something. He always says that my games aren't like the other games. They feature no brutal childish violence, like the other unsophisticated video games. These games focus on a completely interactive narrative experience.
Esta vida, 420, pistols pointed, botellas empty, first 10 rows anointed. The fiesta's popping and all fingers pointed. Our rehab bottles got the whole crowd jointed. Checking what eyes can't be sweating no eye. I can hear living word fly, keep the gleam in your eye.
And you know what's also funny? It's the fact that David Cage thinks that he's the only one that thought of the idea of making an interactive narrative game. Because believe me man, there are other people that did it even better than you. Actually way better than you. The thing that I don't like about Detroit Become Animal, for example, is the fact that he just makes cool looking scenes. The events that happen don't have to make any sense in the story. The scenes are just trying to look emotional, but there is no actual substance. Each time they set up a rule in the game, they just break it in the next scene. They don't explain why this rule is being broken in this time, or why these dudes can turn each other into deviants by touching their shoulders and saying you're free. Last time I checked, telling someone you're free then commanding him right away to do something for you doesn't feel so free, does it? But no, our game focuses on emotion.
My name is Marcus.
The only benefit that we got from this game is the cool memory reboot edits. That's all. And don't get me started on Heavy Rain. So, like I said, the interactive narrative games genre is like any other genre. It can have good games and it can have... But I don't agree with the people that call these games not real games, or they should stop making them. Like, why? Not being able to infiltrate a military base with a double-barrel shotgun and a high Mexican dude doesn't make the game bad. If the game is not your cup of tea, doesn't mean it's bad. You can just maybe give it a try and say, well, this is absolutely not for me, then throw the controller out of the window and play Lords Mobile. What I mean is a lot of people like me love playing a good narrative-focused game, because these games can offer different gaming experiences that are closer to movies, but also has that video gamey touch. And another thing I want to add, believe me, these games don't have to be realistic looking. Some stories work with realistic graphics, but it's no necessity to make all of these games like this, because I love this genre and I want it to be as varied as possible. The Telltale games, for example, don't have real graphics. It has this unique style of things looking like they're taken from a comic book. Look at The Wolf Among Us, for example. The game looks fucking gorgeous, and I can't wait for the second one that looks even better. But still, even if I love the games that focus purely on narrative, I will also prefer the games that master all the elements from the gameplay, the level design, the music, and the story. But having one of these movie-like experiences isn't so bad from time to time, because getting a good interactive narrative game is kinda rare in these days. So yeah, it's like one of those unlikely days when all your teachers are absent at the same time. It's rare, but I'll enjoy it to the fullest when it happens. Well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment if you want. And thank you.